Good morning. This is very unorthodox for me. I am recording this morning walk from my bed. I attempted to go outside and it was so bitingly cold and windy that it was taking my hood off, and when I tried to get in the car, my entire car was frozen shut. So, my morning walk today is another morning sit, but I couldn't even get into my car. So I'm sitting in bed where I usually work all day on Monday to bring you Discordant Dragons, to record my so-called morning walk from inside. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like it when it's cold for Christmas, but it's a little much with the wind. I tried to walk and go roving, but it was just so windy and so cold. I didn't even chance taking the phone out because, oh, man. Anyway, good morning to all of you. I hope you're doing well. I have had many frustrations dealing with hospital insurance trolls, things like that, for my mother's husband and the bad situation that you guys know were happening. I don't know how many of you read my Dancing with Ghosts article that went up a month or two ago on my Substack. I think it was about a month ago. But my mother's husband, I don't call him my stepfather because I was already grown when mostly grown as a teenager when she remarried. He's not a father to me. But, I've known him most of my adult life. He's a really great guy. I spoke kindly about him in the article I wrote. Many of you know that he's very poorly off in the health department. He has a lot of chronic problems like Crohn's disease, liver failure, and the medicines that he takes for his autoimmune condition thing make other things worse and give him more problems. You guys know how it is when you take care of family. Well, long story short, the company he retired from screwed him over on insurance during the process of him getting some very expensive targeted health care. And so when that insurance was turned off at the tap from big corporate decisions where they reworked how they did all their insurance, it left people like him and thousands of others that were retirees from the company immediately bereft with nothing. And that sucks. But I hear that happens quite a bit. People get discarded and used by big companies, and I know that that's not anything new and it's not a surprise, but it has been very hard having to deal with my sad old boomer mother, helping them through their times of need here. Both of them are good people, and having to watch them struggle and cry and look at a system that they were raised to believe was for them, turning on them and giving them no solace. All they see in this in this world of healthcare is foreigners. Foreigners. Whether they be Indian or Chinese or Japanese or from somewhere else in the world. It was very eye-opening for both my mother and her husband just how hard it is to find American doctors and American professionals in our healthcare system. And it's one of the many problems that we face as Americans or white people, wherever you might live in your white country that's being white erased. It's difficult. It's difficult when there's no cultural, ethnic, or religious touchstone between you and the people who are supposed to give you the most important of care, the most targeted of specialized medicine. Like, I understand competitive markets and wanting the best and all of that, but I don't think that that's what's happened to us. I think a lot of greedy, evil people have not infiltrated is the wrong word. Greedy, evil people permeate everything in our culture. And I think that it has been at the behest of people who knew what they were doing. But I don't know if that's even the case anymore. I don't really know how this unholy trifecta of government regulation, corporate greed, market dominance, and this never-ending usury leech system of insurance. I don't know how it can continue. It's It's like it would be like if you were playing a video game or role playing game or something, and you were having to contend with a comically overwrought, like from Brazil, like from Terry Gilliam's Brazil. If you were having to contend with an entire organization of lawful evil bureaucrats, and they weren't even human. They were like, I don't know, like money goblins from Tolkien's bank or whatever. Like it's like you're having to deal with this evil bureaucratic system that was set up so long ago. No one really understands it anymore, and everyone involved in it is just some selfish, myopic view cog in the machine. And it's almost like these people are groomed and selected to be these things by the system itself. I think that especially in the non-personal side of healthcare, like insurance, collections, data sharing, where like you have to go to one hospital, and then your loved one has been a patient at three other hospitals. All of this PHI, this private health information, it has to go with the person. And for someone like my mother's husband, who has a lifelong history of problems and complications and specialized medications, because he's spent a bundle of his own money over the last 15, 20 years trying to live a healthy life that would allow him to still do stuff like play tennis or play golf or be able to, go on a vacation to a nice little beach spot or a nice little island for a few days without having to worry about serious health complications. So someone who has spent hundreds of thousands of his own dollars, not counting, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of money with the prorated rate that he received from insurance. Like, if he didn't have insurance, obviously none of this would be possible. And I think that's one of the problems. Is a man like him, who worked a very respectable job, who did incredible amounts of intellectual labor that very few people on earth can do, to be treated like this. It's not ethnically, culturally sustainable, and I don't know if it's even economically sustainable to have this be how our healthcare works. And I've known about some problems of healthcare for a long time, because back during the ACA or the AHA or whatever it was that Obama started like 15 years ago, I started noticing some serious problems in healthcare, like just how difficult it was to get general practitioner stuff. And then before even that, during the G.W. Bush administration, I started realizing that all of the little PPOs and HMOs and small, like, for lack of a better term, mom and pop business of healthcare, they were all destroyed and gobbled up by these giant conglomerates. And that started happening in the 80s and 90s. So this is not just a Republican or a Democrat thing. Like, deregulation under Reagan, and then every president since then, every administration since then, has a hand in this dirty pie. So this is a bipartisan issue here. And all of these problems, all of these decades and decades of changes and greed and corporate mismanagement and government malfeasance and all this stuff has snowballed into the problems I've had to deal with for the last few months. And so that's why I wanted to talk about it. I dropped the phone. Sorry about that. Dropped the phone. Here we go. So I just wanted to talk about it today. I wanted to talk about it while I walked outside, but oh my God, is it cold. So I just had to come back inside. So anyway, my mother's husband basically needs a full liver transplant or he won't make it. And many months ago, when he was first starting the process of all of this, that is when the corporate and insurance company decision was made to completely rework how they handled and did insurance. So that left a lot of retirees just out in the cold. Be like, oh, well, we don't have that plan anymore. All that's done. And with corporate restructuring, yeah, sorry, your plan didn't have anywhere to go, so it was one of the ones that got axed. Sorry. And here's the thing. It happened so instantly. People at the hospital didn't even know. They didn't even understand why the insurance numbers weren't working and stuff anymore. So it's like we have this complicated clown show of digital information, many different steps removed that have to go through different departments and different, offices. And then when it gets turned off at the tap at the top, well, that just creates this cascading effect of confusion where, oh, well, this isn't working. Why isn't this working? Okay, well, I'll kick it over to this guy. And then, oh, well, Bim Salabim doesn't know anything of who to talk to because he just moved here from Bangladesh or Nepal or whatever, and he doesn't know shit about how anything works. He's just here to get a paycheck and take his money back to India. Like all of these problems just compound and compound and compound to give us the nightmare of pharmacopoeia, medical equipment, actual healthcare itself for medical practitioners, and then all of the insurance and collections and money people that are, infused in all of that. And then it all has to connect back to the government. Like this disgusting system is such a nightmare to deal with as a healthy, smart person who is well above bell curve IQ, who also wants to try to understand it to help a loved one. If it's hard for me, imagine what it's like for regular people who haven't been paying attention, for just regular workaday bell curve people who have a health problem, who have family members who get crushed and discarded by this system. Like, it's just, the more that I have to deal with insurance trolls and people who are foreigners and involved in every step of this, even the government, like every time that I have to call people and try to make things work for what's going on with my mother's husband's healthcare, it's like a cartoonish farce from a Terry Gilliam movie, and it shouldn't be. I'm smiling because it's almost unbelievable, and I just don't see how this can last, and I worry that great amounts of loss and pain are on the way as these systems fail. But again, I think that just because I happen to have a smartphone, just because I happen to have a YouTube channel, I am probably airing things that people have been saying for decades and decades. These things were probably said about how bad things were in the 70s, about how bad things were becoming in the 50s. People have probably been naysaying about the direction our civilization's been going in for a long time. But it doesn't help my mother's husband. It doesn't help me having to deal with all of this right now. And so, as the most jubilant of holidays approaches us, at least in America, I love Christmas. We all pretty much do. It's going to be a rough Christmas for me and my loved ones because of this. And I just wanted to talk about it because it's what I've been having to deal with a lot for the last few weeks. And there's really no end in sight to this bureaucratic hell. And I don't know how it can be fixed because the entire thing is this machine of bureaucratic hell. And I hope that there's a better future coming for white people, especially for those of us who have cared and wanted to make things better and done what we can. But there are no guarantees. There are no promises. So I suppose I'll end the video with this. Love and build personally. You need a community. You need a family. I know that I sound like a broken record, but man, having to deal with all of this for medicine and healthcare and insurance and all this crap, transplant lists and surgical committees and all this garbage, it's so impersonal. It's so ugly. Our people should have better. You listening to this right now, you should have better. So we have to build it. There is no government or corporate mandated family communal network. You have to invest in those things and build them. And I know for young people, that sounds almost impossible. I get it. I talk to guys all the time who are young and say, I'm from a completely white erased city. There's nothing here. It's all corporate and foreigners and government, and there's just nothing here. Nobody around me that looks like me or sounds like me has any interest at all in building community or doing anything real. I get that. I hear that all the time. But you have to do it yourself. You have to be willing to invest your life into building a community and a family, because that's all that in the end that we have. And we used to live that way by necessity. And then all of this crap I just talked about started taking it away from us. And when the necessity went away, human nature took over of, you don't do something unless you have to type of mentality. And I think that's sort of why we're all in this pickle that we're in, is all of the purposeful mind warping stuff on top of all of the luxuries of, here, have this. Do you want this? Click, you can have it. Oh, do you want a job? Do you want somebody to date? Well, just push a button. Here you go. Like, all of this stuff has sort of compounded to shred natural community and natural family growth. And we have to actively fight that. So, I know that's a pretty tired message for me at this point, but it's really the only answer I see. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope that I get to stream with Newsfist since he's back after his long vacation. So hopefully that'll happen Thursday. I hope you all have a great December, a wonderful Christmas month, and I'll see you in the comments and on the live stream next week. God bless.